A very good morning and a warm namaste to all present here. This is Rose from Nepal. Before I begin my short presentation on my thesis, I would like to thank all of you for being here today. The topic of my research is the importance of development communication in policy making in Nepal Ayurveda sector, the case of Morang district, East Nepal. In the rational background of my study, I deal with development communication discipline, participatory communication, importance of Ayurveda, and the present status of Nepal Ayurveda sector. For the past 2.5 years, I have been wrestling with these two words, development communication. I have been explaining to so many the concept, definition, philosophy, approach of these two words, development communication. I may be not successful in convincing or explaining or making myself understood. However, I am strongly fascinated with this two-word development communication, and I can proudly call myself I have done my master's in development communication. The South African government, in talking about the development communication approach, it defines it. Development communication approach is when a government decides to dialogue with its citizens, it is called development communication approach. From all my reading and my study for the past years, I understand that the development communication puts stress on participatory approach, and above all it puts people on the top. People are the main focus of development communication discipline. It also defines as art and science of human. Thus, development communication focuses on participatory approach involving the community from the beginning of planning, implementing, and evaluation of any development program. I go on to deal with the importance of Ayurveda. Ayurveda is considered to be the ultimate healing. Before the birth of the modern medicine, we all depended on Ayurveda. It had a holistic approach. It healed not only our body, it healed our mind too. It gave us a holistic health. Ayurveda, an age-old practice, was the wealth of the poor. They had interdependence. They had the relationship with the nature. They loved the nature loved them in return by providing them with all the herbs needed to treat all the diseases. The Ayurveda is indeed a best alternative method in treating with all the diseases at that time. All the more it is the best method today with all the complicated health problems that our universe is encountering. Thus, I understand the importance of Ayurveda. I also deal with the present status of Nepal Ayurveda sector. From my thesis, I discover there are a number of policies and strategies drafted by Nepal government with the pressure from Nepal health sector as well as from World Health Organization. With the pressure of World Health Organization, lot of policies and strategies are drawn. But sad to say, it did not have a bottom-up approach. Only the top-up approach, with the participation of the intellectuals, the policies and strategies are drawn. The bottom-up people are not even aware of these policies and strategies. Further, we deal with the aim of this thesis is to analyze and understand how participatory have been these policies and how the government is promoting this Ayurveda with a special focus on the Santal tribe, who are well known for the indigenous knowledge of herbs. This tribe is also internationally high in number. I also did the literature review on the importance of development communication discipline in dealing with the developmental programs. The concept, the approach of Japan government, where Mr. Karim in his research in detail tries to defend the Western view, the limited literature that is contributed by the Western world on this development communication. I also remember development communication concept has come from the East, especially Asia. Thus, it has also come from the grassroots agricultural laborers who have become the motivator and the persons who have given birth to these two words, development communication. In his thesis, Mr. Karim tries to explain and understand the Japan's government's unique understanding and approach on development communication or their ways in implementing developmental program. I too had the opportunity of being with JICA for the relief work after the earthquake in Gorkha, western region of Nepal. I was so surprised and I wondered at their unique approach. They would never go against the instruction of Nepal government. First and foremost, they had a detailed plan of how they would carry out their program. Their program, in their detailed planning, the main focus was given to the participation of the people at the grassroots level. They gathered all the people at the grassroots level where they were going to have the implementation of their program. Their project was to make the houses. So they gathered all the local masons and they had the brainstorm session, understood the knowledge that they have, and they shared their knowledge, their technical expertise. They both came to an agreement how they would make the house. What I admired was there was knowledge that was alien to the Japan government which our people knew. And there were also knowledge that was alien to our people which Japan government knew. The beauty of it is when both mingled together, there was great joy. And they both together carried out the project, evaluated the project so well, and there was a lot of joy. And the people owned the project, they owned the house, for the house is made by their own hands. And there was a lot of sincere joy, respect, dignity, love experienced among them. So well, development communication is defined as the art and science of being human. And I also deal with the Santal tribe who are very unique in their lives, in their cultures, in their traditions. And I love to be with them. I had the privilege of being with them for the past 17 years. I just admire their ways, their love for their culture, their respect that they have for each other. They have a lot of traditions that are so rich. No words can explain the richness of their culture. And the underlying richness of their culture is the respect that they give to each other. And regarding the knowledge of Ayurveda among the Santals is they have the Ayurveda, the health aspect is so much related to the religion. The Santal family, whole family have the knowledge of Ayurveda. When a grandfather or grandmother is a traditional practitioner of Ayurveda, the grandchildren and the neighbor children are all his errands to bring the herbs, to bring all that is needed for the traditional practitioner to make his or her medicine. And there is a lot of faith aspect involved in the treatment of these herbs when the practitioner deals with the patient. Further, in my interview with them, I discovered lot of richness in their ways of treatment. I had the opportunity to meet two traditional healers. They were so happy that someone has come to interview them. They had their own joys and sorrows. The uppermost that comes to my mind from their sharing is the joy of that they have the knowledge of the lot of herbs that were available at that time. They had the joy of treating the patient, and the patient is so happy having experienced the holistic healing, praises the healer and returns home happily. And there is not much of monetary returning involved. Mostly the two traditional healers I met, both of them take country-made liquor. So any patients, those who come to them, most of them give them a glass of liquor as their reward. But there is a joy in the traditional healer to practice, to heal someone with the knowledge that they have. And always the patient is healed and the patient experiences both healing of body as well as mind. In my interview with the doctors regarding the different health policies that we have, the doctors shared their ignorance of the knowledge of the policies and the inactiveness of the government in involving them in making the policy. They very clearly explained that if the government involves them, government gives them the freedom, then they have the ample opportunity to be creative, to be innovative in promoting Ayurveda sector in the district of Morang. They painfully agreed that district Ayurveda center is a very stagnant and it is not able to make any impact in the district. For my surprise, I also discovered that not only the Ayurveda sector in Morang is stagnant, but even the modern health as well is not reaching to all the people in the Morang district. From the study, I discovered that the Morang district, having the second largest population in Nepal, has the least centers and the facilities for the people. Here too we understand the partiality of the government and the development workers who always choose to give the service to where people have access to. What happens to those poor who are living in the far remote areas where they have no access to either modern or traditional ways? Traditional ways has always been theirs, but with all the modern development, modern technology, the traditional ways are also eroding. So from my thesis, I have finally I am to defend that the modern medicine, modern development, modern technology, instead of helping everyone, it only helps certain percentage of people in the city where the population is more, but it completely neglects and ignores where the second largest populated area of Morang district is ignored by allowing the people not having the access neither to modern medicine nor to traditional medicine. Thus, it is so true, all the development workers, all the developed nations, with all their programs, without the participatory approach, are sure to fail. Thus, I am to defend that it is very important in making any policy or any developmental program to involve the community, to be participative in involving them in planning, implementing and evaluation of any program, with a strong conviction that they have the indigenous knowledge, they have the indigenous wisdom, which is a must for any program to be sustainable and successful. I thank all of you, dear sir, dear ma'ams, for being here and listening patiently, and I am here to clarify more for all the questions that you will have. Thank you so much for being patient, and I have learned a lot, but I struggle with my words to do the presentation. And thank you so much, and I am sweating from morning till now. At least now I have been able to complete this 15 minutes presentation.